Hello and welcome to our next video. This one is a really exciting one. It's a treatment on a mute swan that had flown into a power line and injured the right shoulder. There was lots of muscle wastage and there was a lot of work we had to do. So the whole of the clip you're going to see will take you through several treatment sessions that we did at Vale Wildlife Hospital, and then you'll see the swan afterwards out in one of the pre-release pens, really exercising itself. So sit back, enjoy and see some osteopathy on a swan. Now, this is the initial examination of this swan, and you can clearly see that the right wing is being held low and the bird is having trouble actually pulling the wing upwards. The vet is just gently holding the swan in a safe manner and allowing me to feel around the shoulder, and it's the shoulder joint or glenohumeral joint which was the problem. And as I say, this bird was suspected of flying into a power line and of severely damaging the wing itself. And if you look, you can see it's trying to lift that wing, and you can see that tremor, which is common where you've got a soft tissue injury to the muscles and joint capsules and ligaments, etc., where the body is trying to use the muscles, but the pain often partially switches off their action. And here I am just assessing, because although we know the shoulder's injured, I want to check all the other joints as well, because one of the classic failures you can make is when you concentrate just on one area and forget the others. Now here I'm applying some really gentle muscle inhibition, so I'm actually trying to relax some of the muscle fibers, because around the shoulder you've got several different muscles that create the movement that allow a bird to fly, or with humans it allows us to move our arm around in various different directions. And what I'm trying to do here is even up the tension, the resting tension of all of these different muscle groups, and then working from there down towards my right hand is just about covering where the elbow is, and I'm feeling for any changes in the soft tissues within those the muscles of the wing itself. You'll note I'm not directly behind the bird, because swans have a habit of defecating whilst you're working with them, and very much so when they start to relax they'll often have a lovely bowel evacuation, and it's not a good idea to be stood directly behind them. Now here we are for the second treatment, and for this one we've brought the swan into the consult room, and you can see that after I treated it, the vet and vet nurses then strapped the wing up. And what this does is it just allows those muscles to rest and start to recuperate whilst the healing process goes on. And here I am. The swan is quite relaxed, as you can see, and it's just allowing me to work through all the muscles with both the chest and the back, and then to the shoulder itself. And I'm just applying gentle articulation here. And one of the important things you'll note is I'm not pulling this bird all over the place. Dramatic movement with a wild animal does not generally produce really good results. And so here I am just calmly working through. I'm not even having to restrain the bird whilst I'm just examining the difference in the muscling, and you can see the muscle wastage there where my thumb and finger are. That's around the shoulder joint. That should be heavily muscled. So the injury has created a lot of sort of muscle damage and wastage, and my job is to try and wake those areas up, get the body to start repairing itself at a pace that nature can do. And that's why we like these birds to be out in the outdoor pens where possible, and certainly outdoors, so that they're in as
quiet and as natural an environment as you can within a wildlife hospital. All the time here I'm just gently teasing through the tissues. You can see even though the wing's strapped, the swan can still move some of the muscles and that, and obviously it's not strapped so tight that you affect the blood flow, because it's important that you don't. And in between my visits, we were getting the vet nurse, here's one of them here, and I was showing them how to do really gentle articulatory movements that use the leverage of the wing to then work the muscles at the shoulder joint, where my left hand and sort of fingers are, right over that glenohumeral joint, which is the shoulder of the bird. And the part of the wing you can see at the front is actually the carpus, or the wrist, the elbow being further back along my forearm. And here I'm just using circumduction movements, both clockwise and anti-clockwise, and then very gentle abduction, so moving the wing away from the body just gently, whilst all the time monitoring with my left hand. And there I'm getting the nurse to feel what I'm doing, so that she's got an accurate idea of what she needs to do on the days that I'm not at the hospital. As you can see, we're getting more circumduction as I'm going on, so as we're warming those soft tissues up and just gently encouraging them, but without forcing them. And again, you can see the swan is relaxed, it's not stressed. We're staying quiet whilst we're doing all of this, so all the time when we're talking quietly. And here we are on the next visit, and just doing further articulation through the wing, and we've got much better movement, and now I'm starting to get the swan used to extending the wing out. And the great thing with mute swans is that they're native to the UK, and so we haven't got to worry about migration and having to fly long distances. So we just need this bird to be good enough to be able to evade predators like foxes, and obviously being able to move distances between different bodies of water. So it hasn't got to fly long distances or anything like that. And you can see we're a little bit more alert and feisty today. I love working with swans because, generally speaking, whilst I'm doing this kind of work, they will sometimes natter away to you quietly, but I've not been attacked by any of the ones that I've been working with. So they're absolutely fantastic. And here I am just working through some of the other muscles, and then gently, and I'm not restraining this swan, I've literally placed my hand under the jaw and the head, and I'm using the head and the neck to gently work through the muscles and the connective tissue, such as the fascia, which gets really contracted with these types of soft tissue injuries. And so I'm just working through these. That swan can move its head and neck off my hand at any stage it wants to, but actually it's leaning down quite hard. And if you look at the muscles in the neck, you'll see that he or she is actually pushing down fairly firmly on me. And again, I'm using the other hand, my right hand, to just feel through what's going on. I'm not really holding the swan down at all. And then after this final treatment, we let him out, I say he or she, out on the pond with some of the other casualties that are recovering. And immediately you can see that the wing is much better now. It's holding it up. So this is after, I think, a total of 4 treatments. We've got this swan back on the water. Now, what you'll notice as the footage goes on, the swan will go slightly lower in the water, and that is partly because they need to be in water and getting wet to trigger their preening glands, so that they can then start waterproofing themselves. And so initially they will start to take on a bit of water. So unfortunately they have to get wet in order for this to happen, but you look at it, it's really really starting to enjoy itself. And as we watch this footage go on, then we've triggered the preening action, and we start getting the swan bathing and preening and re-oiling up the feathers and getting that waterproofing process going. And this is as good for their mental health as it is the physical. I mean, it's no different in the animal kingdom as the human, in that, you know, mental health is a massive issue. Now look at it really going, it's really really getting into all these feathers. But now at this stage you wouldn't have realised that this bird had a shoulder injury. And this is the dedication of the entire team there. You know, I with the osteopathy, that plays a part, but you know, look at this now, and this is sort of really good swan behaviour, where you start to see them really bathing and really working the preening process, the whole bathing, triggering of the oiling up and the tidying up of all the wings. And then once we're back out of the water, then the preening continued. And it's probably just keen to get all that sort of, those itchy sort of damaged feathers out, much the same way as when the birds are molting. And you can see there's sort of some wing feather growth to now get on with, and so this bird's got to sort of then work hard at getting on with that process. But we'll leave it there with it enjoying itself.
So we're going to leave that swan there, enjoying itself. You can see the sort of from the mental health side of things how important it is that wildlife are allowed to sort of behave the way they should. And for us, the sort of priority was to be able to get that swan back out on water so that it could start oiling up its feathers, preening itself, taking care, and you could see it was really enjoying itself. And this is what it's all about. You know, osteopathy is a sort of one of the components within this whole wildlife rehab side of things, and it's one of the many things that we do here at Zoo Ost.